Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we are talking about my favorite knives to play with. I know, there might be a couple people in the comment section going, knives are tools, they're not playthings, they're not fidget toys, blah 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 blah. Look, I'm with you, right? For those of you that have been watching the channel for a while, you know that I'm just about as hardcore user as it gets. But I gotta be honest. Playing with my knives is a huge reason why I like knives so much. It's fun, it's nice, we all do it. Be honest, we all do it. We're sitting around, it's late at night, maybe you just got back from work. You just want to relax, you want to unwind, you just don't want to be stressed anymore. What do? You play with your knives. You know what? It's completely normal. Well, actually, maybe playing with knives isn't normal. It might be a little bit weird according to some people, but for knife guys, come on. We know, right? There's something so satisfying about the action, sounds, tactile, just good feeliness of a pocket knife. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today, are my favorite knives to fidget with when I'm just sitting around. I'll fidget when I'm watching TV. I'll fidget when I'm listening to maybe a recorded lecture. I'll fidget when I'm doing homework. I'll fidget when I'm just sitting down, bored out of my mind. I've always got a knife in my hand. I'm fidgeting and I'm flicking. So, let's go ahead and talk about some of my favorites. This is going to be a mix of specific knives I like to fidget with, as well as just certain types, genres of nice fidget knives. So, let's go ahead and get into this. No particular order. You can see here I've just got a buttload of knives sitting out. I'm just going to be grabbing them randomly and talking about them. So, we're going to start with this guy first. So this is the Kubi Tedious. Really cool knife. Love this thing so much. And there's a couple of reasons I love playing with this knife. Number one is the action is just stupid good. You can't get better than that, guys. The other reason I like fidgeting with this knife so much is because it has multiple deployment options, and that's going to be a theme throughout this. And as all of you professional longtime fidgeters know, that's a big consideration, right? You want something that has multiple deployment options because you want all your digits to be involved, right? And it's fun, you know, to switch it up from your flipper to a reverse flick, thumb flick, even a slow roll. I slow roll a lot when I'm fidgeting, very satisfying. And this knife also has some pretty good sounds. Yeah. So really fun knife to play with, and it also feels good in my hand. Something that's a part of my fidgeting, it might be the same for you, is just the feeling in hand, right? I like the way this knife feels. It's very hand-filling, so I can flip it open and just hold it and be like, grrr, there it is. Ooh, it feels nice. So, great one. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about button locks. I have said on the channel before that I'm not the biggest button lock fan. That's still true for use, right? There are some button locks that I really do genuinely enjoy carrying, but for fidgeting, oh man, button locks are unbeatable. This is the Civivi Conspirator, and something I like about this one is that it has multiple deployment options. So, you've got a flipper tab, and you've got the fuller. So, in use with button lock, I prefer thumb studs. We do have another button lock that we'll talk about here in just a second, but you know, when I just have my brain turned off, I'm sitting down watching a movie. Yeah, it's really nice to have that multiple deployment type of action going on. The other thing that's cool about button lock is when you're fidgeting with it, your thumb never has to get very far away from the button. flick, and click, and you're done. So really, really cool there. Button locks are fun to fidget with. Let's talk about another one of my favorite button locks. This is a CJRB Pyrite. I love this knife. I love it so much. This is actually one of my favorite EDC button locks. I do carry this knife a lot, but I also like this knife as just a fidget knife because it has one of the best button lock actions I've ever felt. It just pops. And again, we have that same flick and click, flick and click. Love it. Can't get enough of that. Can't get enough of that. So that's pretty fun. Next thing, let's talk about front flippers. I don't typically carry, I don't typically like to EDC front flippers. If I am EDCing a front flipper, I like to have another deployment option as well. Just because, for me, front flippers aren't the most intuitive things to use when I'm trying to take a knife out of my pocket and get a job done. But when I'm sitting and fidgeting, oh yeah, for sure. For sure. You can do all kinds of fun little tricks with your front flipper. You know, you're over the top, do your regular lighter style, get it with your finger. Sometimes I can do this with this one. Let's see if I can get it today. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, sometimes. I've got other front flippers where it's easier to do that, but this is the Artisan Sirius. Cool knife, real Conoco design. And yeah, front flippers are a whole lot of fun to just sit and fidget with. Absolutely. That flipper being on the front does give you a lot more, you know, it gives you a lot of different angles of attack, right? You can get it with all kinds of different ways. So, front flippers. Speaking of front flippers, let's talk about a knife this is a specific knife that I absolutely love fidgeting with. It's my Cold Steel Micro Engage. I love this thing. I love it so much. It's so much fun to play with. I can front flip this guy, which is just fun. Reverse flick, thumb flick. It has the Atlas lock. It's a whole lot of fun to play with. It's a nice, small, compact size, which sometimes adds a lot to fidgetability. Yeah, just can't get enough of that. In a similar vein to that, things that have a lock like the Dimco 20.5, the Shark lock. Whole lot of fun, very easy to use, very easy to fidget with, and the sounds it makes. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, I think that's a superpower that all knife guys have that we don't necessarily understand, is we can watch a movie and we can hear everything perfectly, and we can also focus on the beautiful ASMR sounds of our knives. I know other people, they'll tell you, you know, shut up. How can you hear the movie? Your knife is making so much noise. I don't know. It's a superpower. It's just a superpower. So, knives, locks like that, very, very fun to fidget with. Kind of a similar lock. This is my CJRB Crag. I love this knife. Love fidgeting with this thing. I do wish I didn't have the flat carbon fiber scales on here because they are a little bit slippery, which does affect the fidgetiness a little bit. But I love the recoil lock. It's a very cool lock. I hope CJRB does some more with it. They haven't done anything with it in a long time. I would love to see more knives with the recoil lock. So if you're watching CJRB, please. But very fun knife to fidget with, and this is another one that comes down to what I was talking about, like that hand feel. Because this knife feels great in my hand. And part of my knife fidgeting too is I like to just, you know, twirl my knives around in my hand. And for some reason this one just feels really, really good for that. Not all knives twirl as good as other knives, right? You've got to have a good balance. You've got to have good ergonomics, good lines in the handle for your fingers to, just kind of find those natural pivot points. And yeah, this knife definitely fills that role. I have cut myself with this knife fidgeting, but that's another thing that maybe we like is, the little dance with danger, right? Am I gonna lose a finger today? No, I'm just kidding. Be safe, right? Okay, next up. Let's talk about my We Knives Mine Axe. Love this knife. This is a discontinued knife, which is pretty sad. I've had mine for a long time. The action has broken in amazingly. Ferrum Forge design, which is really, really cool. Love the sounds it makes, love the way it feels in hand. And yeah, just that perfect action. This is how I want all my knives actions to be like, because it's not quite guillotine, but it's very drop shutty. It's a controlled. Oh, I love it. It feels so good. It feels so good. Of course, we also have multiple deployment methods with the flipper tab and the blade hole. Something that I never thought about until I heard this mentioned on Lefty EDC's channel is that the handle looks like a phallus. Can't unsee that, but you know what? Feels great in the hand, so. Moving on. Axis lock knives. They are fun to fidget with, right? I don't fidget with axis lock knives as much as some other types, but you know what? They are fun. This is my Hogue Deca. Like this knife a lot. Feels really, really nice in hand as well. I think Hogue does the axis lock better than anyone, especially since they don't have to rely on bearings for great action. This knife is on washers. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? I love that. I love that. No bearings, just good old-fashioned washers, and the action is mwah, perfecto. Perfecto. Okay, what all have we talked about so far? I think we just need to go through these ones. Yeah. All right. This is a big fidget knife, but I love playing with my my cold steel shark lock knives. This one happens to be the 8015 Light. I love the shark lock. I absolutely love it. Listen to that sound. Love that. Never get tired of that. You can reverse flick these if you know what you're doing. And the shark lock is a locking mechanism that once you get good with it, I've been carrying shark lock knives for almost 4 years at this point. They're second nature to me, right? They do take a little bit of practice to get used to, but once they break in and once you get that muscle memory down, they are so easy to use. You flick them. When you flick them, here I'll give some hints right now on how to be really good with your scorpion lock. Have I been calling it the shark lock? Scorpion lock. Scorpion lock. How to get really good with your scorpion lock knives. So when you go to do the flick, don't rest your hand on the back of the blade. Hold it up just a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of a pocket there. It'll flick open. When you go to close it, all you need is your index finger and your thumb. Just come up a little ways and then grab it kind of like your thumb's going to kind of push up and your index finger is just going to kind of balance the lock. Oh yeah, so much fun to play with. And for me, you know, especially if I'm like right now, being in the city, doing school, being bored, right? Well, I guess not bored, I'm super busy, but I'm not out in the woods. I'm not using my big knives as much as I wish. So it's nice to just like sit down and play with my big, overbuilt, chunky boys because I miss carrying them. I really do. Okay. Next thing, I just want to talk about my the Devo Growler. This is a knife I've been fishing with a lot lately. It's fun. It's a really, really nice knife. That thumb flick is so satisfying in this square hole. Very, very nice. Love this knife. Carry this knife a lot still. Very, very happy I got the chance to pick one of these up. Yeah, that one's been fidgeted with a lot lately. And the last knife we're going to talk about, this is my Petrified Fish Victor. This is a really interesting knife. The action on this is insane, but very good flipper, and it has a reverse flick slot milled into the blade. Kind of interesting, but I think that uniqueness is kind of what makes this such a fun fidget knife. I don't know, but it is really fun. This is always on my desk, being ready to be fidgeted with. If I'm going to come out, sit on the couch, there's a good chance I'll bring this knife with me. Also does have those good handle feelings, stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely. And something that I didn't really talk about in this video that I should talk about is access to the lock bar. Access to the lock bar plays a huge role in fidgetability, at least for me, because if you can't disengage your knife easily, that subtracts fidgetness by leaps and bounds. But that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. And I want to hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite fidget knives, right? And what are your favorite places to fidget? For me, sit in my pajamas, you know, getting ready to watch a movie or something. That's the best time to fidget. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. I've been Gideon. Adios.